This video lesson is a demonstration on a Fluency lesson plan. The skill that we're working on is fluency, the ability for the students to read text accurately and with the correct tone and inflection. The objective here is that students will be able to read fluently the text selected. The materials needed are a copy of the worksheet for each the teacher and the student. So the student can follow along as the teacher reads and the teacher can follow along as the student reads. In this video, I'm just going to show the one text up here, but if I were doing this in real life, I'd have two copies, one printed out for me and one printed out for the student. The intensification is going to be teaching to transfer. Oftentimes, students will learn how to read a text, especially a story, with good tone, and then they're struggling to transfer to expository text. At the end, I will talk to my student about how they could transfer this into reading something in their science book, and we will go from there. All right. So we're going to do some echo reading is the fluency lesson that we will be doing. So, good morning, student. We're going to call you Jill. Good morning, Jill. Today we are going to read a story. I want you to listen very closely to how I read the story out loud. I want you to notice when I pause, when I change the tone of my voice, and what I do at the end of a sentence. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. What do I do when I get to an end of a sentence? That's right. I pause and I take a breath. Because what does a period show me? A period shows me that that thought is over and I should regroup before going to the next one. Very good. Listen very carefully and follow along in your text. I'm going to read the text called Snowy Town. We're going to start where it says, Johnny took his dog. Are you ready? Here we go. Johnny took his dog, Scruffy, out for a walk on a cold day in December. He bundled up in his heavy winter coat and put on his thick wool cap and heavy mittens before he said goodbye to his mom. Outside the front door, the whole world was like a winter wonderland. There were icicles hanging from tree branches and snowbanks that rose all the way up to Johnny's knees. Now, do you notice how I stopped after I read the word knees? Why did I stop? Right, because I came to a period, and every time I come to a period, I need to pause. Let's keep going. Scruffy was excited to be outside and scampering around, digging in the snow and jumping into drifts. Johnny was also glad to be out in the cold air. Pause. How do you notice how I read the word also? Right, my tone changed just a little bit, because I'm comparing and elaborating on the sentence before. Very good. The blizzard that had left all this snow had raged for 2 days, and he hadn't been allowed to go outside, even just to catch some air. How do you notice that I read that sentence? I did pause, and did you notice where did I pause? After days, after outside, and after air. Why did I pause after all those? Very good, because there's a punctuation mark. There's a comma or an exclamation point telling me to pause. Let me read that last sentence again, and I want you to listen to how I say the word air. The blizzard that left all this snow had raged for 2 days, and he hadn't been allowed to go outside, even just to catch some air. How did I read the word air? Right, my tone rose up as if I was excited. Why would my tone go up as if I were excited? Yes, there is an exclamation point. Let's keep going. They walked through Johnny's neighborhood, passing people who looked glad to be outside, too. A few blocks down, Johnny saw his friend Marcus building a snowman with his big sister, Marie. Hi, Marcus, Johnny called out. Ooh, what did you notice about how I read that sentence? Right, again, my voice got excited for Marcus. Why did my voice get excited after I read the word Marcus? Because there's an exclamation point. Very good. He walked over to the snowman. Hey, Johnny, you want to help? Ooh. Listen as I read that sentence again, and notice how I read the word help. Hey, Johnny, you want to help? How did I read the word help? My voice went up, right. Did my voice go up in the same way that it did when I read the word Marcus? No, why not? Very good, because it's a question mark. So now I'm asking a question instead of getting excited. Let's keep reading. Marcus was patting the bottom part of the snowman with his glove, while Marie was rolling together the second section of the snowman, packing the snow together to make sure it stayed in a round shape. Did you notice, did I pause after any of those words? I did. I paused after glove and snowman and shape because they all have punctuation marks. Let's keep going. Johnny walked over and wrapped Scruffy's leash around Marcus's mailbox. Together, Johnny, Marcus, and Marie built an amazing snowman. How did you notice that I read the word amazing? Right, I sounded as if I was shocked at something, because the word amazing means to be shocked. They fashioned a long pointy nose out of many small twigs pulled together in a tent shape, and eyes out of bruised green apples Marie found in the house. They made the snowman's arms out of 2 longer sticks, setting them up to look like he was waving. Sometimes Johnny would look over at Scruff, and Scruffy would be digging again, but mostly he sat patiently, watching Johnny, Marcus, and Marie work. Did you notice how I paused after all those commas and periods? I did. Let's keep going. Nope. Here we go. When they were all done, Marcus and Marie's mom came outside to see their work. "This is an amazing snowman," she said. "Does anyone want hot chocolate?" Ooh, listen as I read that again. "This is an amazing snowman," she said. "Does anyone want hot chocolate?" My voice did some weird things there. What did my voice do? Right, after I said amazing, I sounded excited. And after I said snowman, my voice went up. I also questioned after the word chocolate, so my voice sounded like I was asking someone a question because I wasn't sure their answer. Let's read the rest. All 3 kids and Scruffy ran into the house and warmed up. After about an hour, Johnny decided it was probably time to go home. The sun was beginning to set, and it was starting to get very cold. As he was saying goodbye to Marcus, Marie, and their mom, Scruffy ran out into the yard, ignoring all of their calls to stop and come back. Ooh, did you notice how I read that last section? Ignoring all of their calls to stop and come back. Is it a good thing to ignore somebody? No. Did I make my voice sound worried when I was reading that? I did. All right, let's keep going. All of a sudden, Scruffy jumped up and gave the snowman a big bear hug. "Oh no!" Johnny yelled and ran out to the snowman, which was now a pile of snow and sticks on the ground. Marie and Marcus ran out behind him. All 3 looked down at the remains of the snowman and then at Scruffy, who was staring up at them, panting and smiling. Did I pause a lot in that paragraph? I did. Why would I pause? Because there's periods and commas. Very good. "Oh well," Marcus said. "We can build another one tomorrow." Johnny apologized for Scruffy and clipped the leash back onto his collar. Marcus was right. Tomorrow was a new day and could mean another snowman. Johnny walked Scruffy home as the sun set. Maybe tomorrow he would build a snow dog. Did you notice how I paused again after each one of those? Very good. Did I read that really fast, or did I take my time and read it? I did. Now, we're going to do this together. I'm going to read a section, and you're going to repeat it for me. When you repeat what I say, I want you to make sure you sound just like me. We're going to be like an echo. Remember how you echo in a tunnel and it comes back at you? We're going to try that. Here we go. Johnny took his dog, Scruffy, out for a walk on a cold day in December. He bundled up in his heavy winter coat, put on his thick wool cap and heavy mittens before he said goodbye to his mom. Your turn. Remember, pause after you get to a period. Let's try that again. Very nice. Way to pause after that period. Let's keep going. Listen to me first. Outside the front door, the whole world was like a winter wonderland. There were icicles hanging from tree branches and snowbanks that rose all the way up to Johnny's knees. Your turn. Ooh, I really like how you stopped after you said the word knees. However, there was another punctuation mark in there that we should have paused at. Can you find it? Right, the comma after door. Listen to me again as I read it, and then you try it. Outside the front door, the whole world was like a winter wonderland. There were icicles hanging from tree branches and snowbanks that rose all the way up to Johnny's knees. Your turn. Very good. Scruffy was excited to be outside and scampered around, digging in the snow and jumping into drifts. Johnny was also glad to be out in the cold air. Your turn. Notice how I paused after drifts and air, and I changed my voice for the word also. Very good, you sounded just like me. Let's finish off this paragraph. The blizzard that left all this snow had raged for 2 days, and he hadn't been allowed to go outside, even just to catch some air. Your turn. Ooh, I love that you paused after the commas and your voice got excited after air. We read that kind of fast. Let's see if we can slow it down and read it again. Listen to how I say it. The blizzard that left all this snow had raged for 2 days, and he hadn't been allowed to go outside, even just to catch some air. Your turn. Very good. The lesson continues going through each section and having the student read afterwards. I chose to pause after 2 sentences at a time in this very long paragraph because that's a long time for students to remember how to read it. This next couple paragraphs would be okay to do all at once, but as soon as we get down to this big one at the bottom again, we'd probably want to pause. Now, we got done with our lesson, and now it is time to teach about transferring it to another subject. Here we go. Great, you read that story so nice. It sounded fluent, which means you paused at the correct points, your voices changed tone at the right time, and you read it at a good pace that wasn't too fast. What are some other times that we need to read things to understand them? Yes, when we're in other classes. Remember how in science yesterday you had to read about thunderstorms? Yeah, I want you to think about that reading. What are some things we can remember about reading this that can help us to read our science about thunderstorms? I like that you said about pausing after punctuation. That's a really good one. I also want you to remember that we need to read it nice and slow. We don't want to rush through it, because when we rush through it, we skip some words. Pausing after we read a sentence is a good way to remind ourselves to slow down. Why don't we go get that thunderstorm lesson out, and we will practice reading that together. That concludes the lesson. As I said before, this lesson was on fluency, and we used echo reading to help teach us it. The intensification added was transferring to another subject. So we talked about what we can do with our science work so that we can understand it and read fluently as well.